Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls of all ages, welcome to a special episode of Casale's Corner. I'm your host, Casale the Crusher, and today we'll be talking about the biggest match of the summer, the grudge match between Drew the Dominator and Anthony Caputo. Let's dive right in, shall we? First point to consider here, Drew is fully healthy. No problems, nothing at all. Whereas last week at a week-long football camp, Caputo suffered an injury to his shoulder. That could be a difference maker here in this matchup. Drew could target the shoulder. Another point to the Dominator's case. He's been training for this for 2 months now, as you saw recently in his match against Cam McCumber. That devastating spine buster, which Caputo has to watch out for, won the match in less than 3 minutes. Drew has been an animal. Caputo is going to have to figure out a way to slow him down. We'll see what happens. But, now a case for Caputo. He's a very smart wrestler, knows how to get the match to where he wants it, and if he can tire out Drew, and I think he'll have a good chance of winning this matchup. The longer the match goes, the more in favor it goes to Caputo. Now, this match will not take place at a neutral site either. This is a big one. It will take place at Caputo's house this Friday. So, the advantage of the home crowd has to go to Caputo in this one. Will that sway the tides any? I don't know. But it has to be considered that Caputo knows the surroundings. He knows what types of weapons to get at what time. He knows the ground. When he gets a suplex on it, he'll pop right back up because it's happened to him a ton. Whereas Drew gets a suplex on the floor, it takes him a minute. It's hard concrete, but Caputo's used to it. That's where he trains. So that's a very interesting point that was brought up the other day on X, and, I have to consider it. But you thought that the greatest match of the summer was going to be Drew versus Steven. Twice, I have it twice. In 2 great matches, classic matches. But this one's going to be even better. Now let me dive into the hype video. Here. Our first point to talk about. We'll start with Drew because he was the first one in the hype video here. Hold on. Alright. Here you see a shot of Drew with that spinning spine buster to, well, once again, Cam McCumber. Now, that is one of 2 dangerous moves that the Dominator does, and I'll show you the second one in a minute here. The second one he used to win his first WWE Championship, but if Drew can summon up enough power late in the match to hit that on Caputo, on that concrete floor, I think Ant could be in some trouble here. That's a very devastating move, and we'll see what happens. Now here is the next point of emphasis from the hype video. Right here, the signature move of the Dominator, the headlock. He's used this move on Steven Swartout now 3 times, 2 with victories. It's a devastating move, almost like a choke, but it's legal. He locks up one of your arms as well. If Drew gets this in, it's going to be very hard for Caputo to get out of. Now, as you know, I faced Caputo once and, eliminated him in an elimination match with a submission. Submissions are Caputo's weakness. He's got to get over that if he wants to win this matchup, because Drew's going to be looking to use that move. Now, next point of emphasis on the hype video here, as we break it down for you live on Casale's Corner. Before we move on to Caputo here. That's the face of a killer. Now, next up here, we have Caputo. Not really much to talk about here, you know. He did the ice bucket challenge pretty good. Good football shot here. But I think, Caputo didn't really give away any game plan, in this hype video, which I thought it could have been smart, or, he doesn't have a game plan. But I don't think that's the case. I think that, that he does. And on Friday, I think he's going to surprise a lot of people. Sorry, we had some technical difficulties. Hope you can hear me better now. Forgot my microphone. Yeah, I know. Highest growing podcast in America and doesn't have a microphone. Unbelievable, right? Well, now there's the point in the hype video. Another point that was brought up on X yesterday is the Dominator tired? It's a very interesting point. He had 2 classic matches against Steven Swartout a couple weeks ago, where he won the WWE Championship, then lost it back to Swartout. I think that this goes in the Dominator's favor personally. I think he's hungry. I think he wants that title back, and I think he's going to prove a point on Friday against Caputo. So that was an interesting point that, had to consider, had to talk about it on the show. Now, Caputo, he's not a 1-sport athlete. He's not a 2-sport, doesn't do 3 sports, 4-sport athlete. This guy can get it done. He's the leader in football, basketball, and lacrosse. But in wrestling, leadership doesn't matter. It's you and the other guy. So can Caputo lead himself to victory on Friday? He has some things going for him. So does Drew. My pro tip for who's going to win this matchup, it just seems like the Dominator wants it more. He's been asking for this match for months now. He finally got it. He's hungry. He just lost the title. It just feels like the Dominator's going to come away with a victory on Friday. But with the odds going in Drew's favor, Caputo doesn't like to be an underdog. And you could see an upset on your hands on Friday. So I'm going to go with Drew, but if Caputo wins the match, I wouldn't be surprised. Ladies and gentlemen, that was Casale's Corner. That was my take on the biggest match of the summer. Drew versus Caputo. The wrestling world's exploding, ladies and gentlemen. Brock Lesnar's back. Seth Rollins faked an injury. He's the world heavyweight champion. And now, the greatest match of all time between Drew the Dominator and Anthony Caputo. It's coming to you Friday, ladies and gentlemen. Make sure to tune in on pay-per-view and watch.